Welcome to the in-between,
where shift happens,
the moment between where we are
and where we are going.
We will ask all the questions,
maybe find some answers,
and generally work at being okay.
In the mystery of the in-between.
In today's episode, we are talking about the body knows. But what does it know?
What does it know? What doesn't it know?
Yeah. And we're going to get into that. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Daniel. How are you?
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome to the in-between where shift happens. If this is your first time hanging out with us.
I'm sorry. No.
You've missed a lot.
Yeah.
But you can always go back.
Yeah, it's true.
So if you want to know kind of the theme, the kind of the modality behind this podcast is that one person comes with questions on a sort of agreed upon topic, but the other person doesn't know the questions. And so we have a conversation like off the cuff, kind of like the in-between.
Yeah.
Where
very vaguely agreed upon topic.
Yes, the squidgy middle of the in-between. So today we are talking about the body knows. And we can go like so many different ways with this. And so we'll see what happens, right? We're in the squidgy middle of it all. But I wanted for us to explore this idea of how our body really absorbs a lot of the things that we experience. And I don't know that we often realize that until we realize that, if that makes sense.
Yes.
And so I think just maybe, some conversation around like paying attention to our body, that our body does know stuff, and what can we learn from said body? So let's just start off and see where we go. We're always going in the right place wherever we go. So I'll start off with question. Let's see. Mm-hmm. So can you think of a time? Let's go personal. Let's go personal here. Yeah. We'll go to the micro, then we can get to the macro.
We're just going to go right into it.
So can you think of a time just like boom, it is in my brain remembering a time where you like became really keenly aware of your body and how it was holding on to an experience, or how that experience was being felt in your body?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the better question.
I don't know if this exactly answers that question, but maybe it'll buy some time by thinking. What immediately comes up is actually happened yesterday. This is a pickleball story.
I was going to say this is a pickleball story. Yeah. I knew it was going to be. That's all right, man.
My whole personality has become pickleball, which
we are one with the dink.
Yes, that's right. Anyway, so I was out playing early yesterday morning before work, and I knew I had played too much this week, and I knew that like I need to stop. I probably should have stopped like 2 or 3 games ago. And I was like, all right, I'm done. And then like, a friend, a good friend showed up, and I was like, oh, well, we got to get a game in before I leave. So, okay, one more. That's like the big thing on the pickleball course is one more game. It's always one more game. And then like 3 hours later, it's like, well, all right, one more game, but I should have stopped.
Right.
So I do one more game, and my arm was just like so tired halfway through that game. And now I'm out there like just making an ass of myself, missing shots that are just like so easy. And then I start getting pissed at myself because I'm like, that was such an easy shot, blah, 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 whatever.
Right.
And like we had fun. Nobody really cared. But by the end of the game, I was so annoyed at myself about how badly I played. We lost and like whatever. Like it doesn't really matter. And then at the same time, it was just like, but you're better than that, or whatever. And then I'm packing up. So finally I leave and I'm packing up and I'm like, wow, I know better than that. Like, I knew like my whole body was sore, like just like that extra, 15 or 20 minutes of playing. Like my body was sore, my arm hurt, I was tired. Now I'm annoyed. But like my body was 100% telling me in the game, like prior to that I should have already stopped. And I'm like, meh, it'll be fine.
Yeah, I'll be all
Yeah.
right.
Not fine, not all right, and it's like, wow, why do we do that? Why did I do that in that moment? And trying not to like beat myself up about it, but was like, that's fascinating. I mean, one, it's a fun game. It's addictive as hell. It's good times. There's good people. Like it was, but it's like, but what kind of fun is worth like the abuse, the self-inflicted abuse of like just not, just not listening and just keep going. It's like so weird,
Yeah.
you know?
Our bodies know. When
Yeah,
I think
for
about
sure.
this question, what comes well, a recent thing that came up with me. Well, there's so many things because I think uh, I, I tend to be overly attuned to my body, which is neither good nor bad. It just
Yeah.
is. But sometimes I'm keenly aware of what I'm feeling in the moment. And there's uh, just my body has different ways of just holding on to anxiety or stress or anything like that. And so I was watching a documentary that had to do with it was the Shiny Happy People, the
Oh,
second season.
yeah.
And it had to do with very fundamental evangelical Christian uh, organization. And I just found a lot of how I grew up in that while I was watching the documentary. And by the end, I had both of my thumbs tucked into my hands into a fist,
Ooh.
which is what I know is my sign of like anxiety and like stress.
Mm,
My body will do that. It's kind of like this tensing up. And I was like, wow, what is that about? And it was really interesting. The more that I kind of leaned into it, it was some of the same feelings that I had as a kid around some of these really uh, fundamental evangelical Christian ideas
mm.
of like fear of making a mistake, or uh, if I thought something wrong or did something wrong or said something wrong, I was going to go to hell. Like all the things, right? All
Yeah,
the things that
yeah.
I've been, deconstructing from. But it was really interesting that although my brain or, my ideology now and my belief system now is not that, it's something different. My body was still responding
Mhm.
to that
Yeah,
kind of ingrained patterning that happened like early on, because our subconscious is open from the minute we're born, right? It is just absorbing, whether we know it or not. And it's really interesting. It was like on a cellular level, my body was this tense
yeah,
sort of thing. And it's just amazing. Um, just kind of that memory, that response that cellular
yeah,
memory
yeah,
and response that our bodies have to like situations or activation points.
yeah, yeah. Yeah,
Very
it's wild.
interesting.
I tend to not notice yeah, I tend to not notice those kind of things until like afterwards.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, huh, why? Yeah, why did I not see that, or why did I not notice that, or and I think that is also part of the body's way of knowing. Like at some point very early on in my life, my body and brain learned to protect itself, to like not notice these things, to not feel these things in the moment, like whether that's like I don't know if that's repression or whatever it is, but like to totally suppress like the recognition in the moment of what that feels like. And it was only many, many, many years later where I started to figure out like,
Oh yeah.
oh, I can actually like afterwards notice the thing and go, wow, that feeling is really familiar. Oh man, that always happens when XYZ, that kind
Yeah.
of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
oh my God. Um,
Well, and
I,
even in like spiritual contexts, there is this, and it comes in different religious contexts or different spiritual belief systems, but there is this sometimes this like seemingly separation of the body from the rest of us, or there's this, or the body is something to overcome
Right.
or
Yeah.
something to transcend. So how do you think this idea of like transcending or the flesh or all the things that all that sort of terminology, how do you think that impacts our ability to listen to our body when it's actually telling us something?
Badly. I think it impacts it very badly.
Bigly. It influences
Is-
bigly.
no, I think probably more than any of us ever really realize. I mean, I think that's so entrenched in our culture. Um, yeah, I mean that whole idea, like, oh, but we're spiritual beings. I was like, well, yeah, as human like if anything is spiritual, everything is. So like,
Right.
we can't not be like, how are we going to separate? In any sort of belief of interconnectedness, it's like you can't have a difference between the whole spiritual experience and your own spiritual experience. It's all one thing. Um, but I think for sure, like this idea of we're trying to like overcome or take dominion over the human experience. And then when we get there, like there's some sort of goalpost or checkbox. Like
Right.
once we get to that point, then we will have, that now we're going to be spiritual enough that we can have the life we want or something, instead of realizing that all of this is actually kind of part of the gig. We can't like ignore the human experience because we think we're going to get some sort of spiritual experience instead. It's like,
Mm.
no, that's the whole point.
Yeah, I
think.
mean, like
Like,
it's the way that whatever you believe that it is experiences itself through
yeah,
life.
yeah,
Well, and it's like this, and that our body is something, like you said, to be like dominated or to be overcome or to be like changed into some ideal thing, right? And so the body gets a bad rap. It gets, right? It just gets
yeah,
and often we, don't pay attention to the signs that our body's telling us until like after the fact. It's like till the crash and burn, right? And then it's like,
yeah,
oh, maybe
yeah,
this and this. And so I do think the body can alert us to so many things. It's kind of like, I think, our intuition,
yeah. I was just gonna
the
say,
things that we're passionate about, the things that stir energy in us, the situations and circumstances that we're like, there's something not right with this,
yeah, right,
right? And
right,
I think for me, I was, kind of conditioned in to not trust my body. Like your body's sick, oh, push harder,
right,
right?
yeah,
Or just, suck it up, you're all right, that sort of thing.
walk it off.
And so I think what that does is it psychologically like tells us, oh, the body's not important. So
Yeah,
then there's not that listening ability to our body, which I think is detrimental.
yeah. I mean, detrimental to not following our own intuition, whether it's about how to make a decision, whether it's about a relationship, whether it's about whether we for some reason we're going to take a different route to work today, or drive a different road or whatever. I mean, I think there's a lot of that where we cut off from that, or it's something, you get like I think we all have like innate senses of other people and other
Mhm.
situations, and how certain spaces feel, and
Yeah.
it's really easy to lose that. I think most people have lost that really early. I don't know that it doesn't mean we can't get it back, but
Right. Well, you know,
but I think there's also like not only, like you, I was also taught to ignore things. I also wasn't taught like how to read the signs, what they
yeah.
were, or so like I think even the ones that might have been there, that somewhere like subconsciously was like something doesn't feel right, like had no idea. I mean, still most of the time have no idea until afterwards, like what those things even are.
Right.
And I think that is probably a generational thing that has, I'm going to say, been lost. I think at some point as a human population, we probably had a better sense of that. I think for most of us that I don't know, the art of understanding has kind of faded, um, and I think it's one of those things where like I can often afterwards kind of trace things back, and yet still in the moment they're not usually clear the next time. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah. What are some ways that you'd like reconnect to your body? Like in those times where we're kind of falling back into that kind of default of like not really paying attention to what our body's telling us or what our, how things are
Yeah.
coming up for us. Like what are some things that you do to get you kind of back into that space of really paying attention?
Yeah. I kind of hate to say this, but I think a lot of the times it's like it happens because of pain.
Mm,
Maybe less now than it used to, but like you wait and you ignore it, you wait and you ignore it, and then you can't ignore it anymore. And it's like, fuck.
yeah.
Okay. What is that and why? What does that
Mhm.
mean? Um, and I mean, I for sure, for most of my life until very recently, well, maybe it's been a couple of years already, but until the last couple of years, had always been the one to go, 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 crash and burn. Rest for a day or two, go, 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 crash and burn. So the crash and burn was kind of like the necessary way of getting back in touch,
Mhm.
because my body, like, I just didn't have it anymore for those like 2 days, and kind of rested and kind of recovered enough to start going again. Um, I think since then, developing a practice of like a slower roll in the morning, although that's changed a lot recently too. But like for a while was kind of going like the slow roll morning of like, now I also, I have a life where I'm privileged enough to be able to do that. Where it was like, okay, kind of take it easy in the morning. Don't have to like get up and rush and go do the thing. Like I can just like, okay,
Right.
do what I need to do, take my time. And I think having that kind of grounded sense of beginning in each day did it did kind of create this sense of like I was tethered to something,
Mm. Yeah.
where there was much more of a sense of how situations landed on me, like jumping into a Zoom meeting. I was much more aware of like the sensation of this space and how this felt and who was in that meeting and how it landed on me, and what kind of things do I need to do, what do I need to be aware of to like manage my own self coming in or out of that meeting, usually out of,
Right.
you know um but certainly having the space, I think, in the beginning of the day to start grounded allowed for more opportunity to notice things easier or more quickly, right? I mean, I think
Mhm.
that's been a huge shift for me, whereas before, like, without making room for starting grounded each day, I think, or most days, um I think there wasn't space, like everything was crammed, so there wasn't space or time to notice. And I just went. And I think out of necessity, I had to start creating the space and the time so that I could notice more often how things throughout the day were landing on me and how I was feeling about it, how my body was reacting.
Yeah.
And a lot of that was energy. Like just certain spaces would just suck so much energy. Um, and here we go again. Having found pickleball,
The answer to all things.
apparently. But I think like going from a kind of like sedentary, like sit at the computer all day lifestyle. I mean, especially since 2020. I mean, we and I were just talking earlier about like I was editing some videos today, and it's like, man, we used to sit for hours,
Hours and hours.
hours and hours editing videos and creating graphics, and it's like, what a grind! Oh my god,
Well,
and just doing it today I was doing it yesterday for a little bit and doing it today, and it's like, oh man, like I literally was like, I can only do that. I need to set a timer for myself where I can only do this for
yeah.
certain chunks of time for this duration before I need to get up and take a break and do something else. Whereas, a couple of years ago, I would just go for hours and then be exhausted at the end of the day.
Well, that brings up an interesting thing. It's because I think for me, like the more I get to know myself, not the self that I like was said that I had to be or that
Mm.
to project, but actually myself,
Yeah.
then the more I can realize my bandwidth, my boundaries, what I can do, how long I can do it, like all the energy, all those little things that I think sometimes we don't pay attention to when we are kind of unaware of ourselves, right?
Yeah.
And so then I can make decisions and ask myself, like, okay, how are we feeling? Check
Mm.
in. And then if I'm feeling a certain way, like, okay, then I can ask the question, what is that about? And then I can begin to navigate. And so I think that for me, it's the more that I know about myself and to realize that that's okay. I don't have to
Mm-hmm.
change any of that.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
who I
Yeah.
am and really accepting that and stepping into that. Um, I'm able to trust my body a whole lot more and to be grateful for the messages it sends. So like my body sends different messages to me than your body sends to you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so
Mm-hmm.
one is not right or wrong. It's
Yeah.
just different. And so understanding that and knowing that and really listening to what is that saying because it carries not only my body not only carries my history, it carries the history of my parents and my grandparents and my great grandparents and the history of all of us, right?
Yeah.
Our
Yeah.
bodies really, I mean, you talk about like epigenetics and things like that. Our bodies really do like there's something, right? There's
Mm-hmm.
something in
Mm-hmm.
between
Yeah. For
um
sure.
that
For
is
sure.
influencing that. And I think the more that we can recognize that, lean into that, then we can begin to like make friends with
Mm.
our body, that it's not something to like shift or change or move or get rid of. It's like a part, it's like a part of us, a part of our experience and
Yeah.
really leaning into that. So for me, it's like really paying attention to like how I'm operating, how I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. And that really, for me, is a good indicator of like what is going on.
Yeah.
But with that, I mean, I am all about a slow roll in the morning, but I think that I can more easily slip into paying attention when I'm more grounded,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's this vicious cycle otherwise, right? And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
um, the body knows, in case you don't know.
It does. It knows.
Um,
And that whole like passing on generation for generation thing. I mean that is fascinating.
and terrifying,
Yeah. Yeah. I was like
depending
kind of
on depending on your family is
yeah.
terrifying.
Right. Right. Definitely something I wish I knew more about. But yeah, I mean there is a little bit like that's kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, as we usually do toward the end, 1 minute takeaway from
Oh,
the idea that the body knows. 1 minute
yeah.
takeaway. You're on the clock.
Um, I think my takeaway is I thought I knew myself a whole lot more than I might. Or the more I know myself, the more there is to know. Maybe it's that.
Ooh,
Um,
very deep.
ooh. um, but like, I don't really spend a whole lot of time specifically asking, like, what am I feeling about
Mm.
this? Or like, it still is a very much after the fact kind of thing. As much as I have shifted, I mean, it's definitely different than it used to be. And, I mean, it is still an after the fact kind of thing where I'm not really thinking about it until afterwards.
Yeah. I think for me, it's just continuing to trust my body.
Ugh.
Trust its intelligence, trust its
Yeah.
understanding, trust what it's been through and how it has, helped me navigate to this point.
Yeah.
And that can be hard. I mean, that can be hard in the midst of a world that devalues certain bodies over others. Um,
Yeah.
and to live in that can be challenging. And so I think just really making friends with my body and being grateful for it,
Mm-hmm.
like in all its things, right? And all the things that it has to tell me, even when it gets silly. It gets silly sometimes and it tells you the wrong thing, like when, oh, this is like life or death, but it really isn't, right? Sometimes the body can't distinguish,
Yeah.
real or imagined um, stuff going on. And so just really, yeah, just trusting the body. I think that just continuing to lean into that.
Yeah.
And that's not easy, right? I mean, it's not like, oh, okay. But I think just continuing to learn and understand that our body does know.
Yeah.
And your body knows.
Everybody knows.
Everybody knows. I was waiting. I was kind of teeing you up for that. Yeah. Mhm. Well, we've hit that time in the podcast where we've gotten a little punchy, which means it's time for us to go. Thank you, as always, for listening, not only to us, but maybe it's inspired you to actually listen to your body because, as we've talked about, the body knows. And so until next time, we will see you in the in-between.
Nobody really enjoys being in the in-between.
But thanks for being here anyway.
We may not have found all the answers,
But certainly some. And maybe more importantly,
a little shift has happened.
and the beauty of it all is that we are not alone in the in-between.
So until next time, we hope a lot of shift happens.